internship report. My name is Alexander Ryan. This is for the FSCJ CNT 4940 Cooperative Education Internship. I did my cooperative internship at my employer. I work for a company called Enterprise Integration. My day-to-day job is the service desk, where I work weekends. I'm a shared service desk technician, so I support all of our 50 or so clients in one way or another, anywhere from monitoring to changing passwords, simple things like that. And Enterprise Integration has been around since 1998 in Jacksonville, Florida. They do system engineering operations, security, networking, service desk, and also monitoring. They also have a division that focuses on automation. Their automation program is called Dre. It keeps the tickets and stuff from happening before they get to the desk. They've currently they're employing about 50 employees. In the past, it's been as many as 300. It's really based on what contracts and stuff we have at the time. Learning objectives of the internship was to obtain real work experience in IT areas of study. This will help build my resume and future employment after school is over. Also builds contacts and relationships that are important once my degree is completed. And I'll speak to it later, but the biggest thing I got from this internship was the experience working in the security and the operations. I knew some of the people just from experience of dealing with escalated tickets, but not on a personal level. So when positions come up, I can feel more comfortable interviewing with them. They know who I am, especially since I work the weekends, so I very rarely meet any of them in person. It's all over the phone because how staffing is in those departments. So this was definitely the business contacts were very important. The tasks assigned to me were things that were given that would give me experience that I would not get while I was on the service desk. That's working directly with VPNs, firewall, system patching. I got experience prep with the hurricane team due to the storm that came in at the beginning of my internship. They gave me experience on how the company that gave me experience how the company prepares for disasters and how important it is to have a plan that deals with flooding, power outages, lack of internet, things like that. Internship report one, I worked with security engineering a lot. That has a lot to do with the fact is that I hope to, after my degree is done, is move into the security field as an analyst or a system or a security engineer. It gave me a lot of hands-on with our clients' firewalls, as I had seen the alerts, but not being able to actually log in and look at logs. Like I said before, I also learned importance of disaster recovery. A lot of time was spent preparing clients' computers, getting them set up to use VPN and work remotely. Also going to on-site and powering off their systems, plastic wrapping all their computers if they're near in flood areas and stuff like that, which in Jacksonville, a lot of our clients are either at the beach or near the river. Also, this in my second internship report, the storm was still coming, so I spent a lot of time going in there and cleaning up, meaning unwrapping, turning the systems back on. Also, I did a lot of monitoring on stuff to make sure that processes that the computers run, the servers and stuff run, were restarted correctly. And that was a big issue. And then later in the week I got to spend some time doing we had a few phishing attacks with our clients that I was able to learn how to run PowerShell scripts on email servers to do search and destroy, and also what to look for in firewall logs to see who clicked on those suspicious links, and then going in and doing antiviruses on their computers and making sure that they didn't download any unnecessary software. In the week 3 report of the internship, I spent most of the week working on a VPN issue with a client. Their users were getting disconnected, and this is one of the things that it was one of the worst IT things in the fault that it'll correct itself without doing anything. So yeah, trying to pin down. I also learned like and the security engineers were monitoring things and looking at the logs to see if there was issues. And it turned out to be more of and the system engineer operations department, as it was a resource issue on the VPN server itself. But we would communicate with the client that it was being worked on, but we weren't following up with the system engineers to see if they were actually increasing the resources. So it would fix itself because it was like I said, one of those problems that would learn, say, oh, it looks right, but then it wouldn't be, and then it would happen again, when we got more and more people on the server logging in to use the VPN. So the client would call upset saying, oh, you told us that you were increasing resources. Well, we'd go back and follow up with the engineer. Oh, that wasn't planned to do until tomorrow, or I didn't get that communication. So I really found that, like, you can monitor things all day long, but if you're not following up and having the proper communication, what will happen is that you'll think something getting done, and it's pointless. During the fourth week of my internship, I learned the importance of being able to filter logs. We were going through um, some firewall issues, and like I was pulling up the logs and going like line by line, and it was very, very tedious. And so finally, they showed me how to export them to um, Excel and then filter them by dates and times, so you can really, or type of alerts that are in the logs. This really kept me from not being able to properly filter, like it's like finding a needle in the haystack. So I also got to work some with the Sixers environment with the operations team. We have a client that is running exceptionally old Windows server software, and they're a non-profit company, so they don't really have the money to upgrade their systems. So they run a Citrix. The print server was really poorly done. So what I had to do is go through all the drivers, remove the drivers for old hardware that didn't even, like printers that hadn't used in 10 years, and then reinstall the current ones, and then clone that print server to a secondary print server in Citrix environment. So if for some reason the one print server they couldn't pull those things, the new one it was working more efficiently. And that was a lot of experience because other than like logging into and using Citrix myself, I've never actually worked on the back end of it before. Evaluation. I really found that the internship was very useful. The big reason is that like when you're in school or you're doing your certifications, things of that nature, you really find that there's a lot of theory, but when you get it into practice, you don't see it how they present it in there. I find this on the service desk, my service desk just also, which is like you go there and you say, okay, this is what a firewall log looks like. Well, none of those alerts are on there. Or like how to set up a VPN or a print server. I can see that in a book or do it in like NetLab at school, and those are perfect environments with like fairly well built and server environments. And you're not gonna, when you get into the real world, it doesn't like that. And like I had mentioned before, the contacts I built allowed me to already interview for a junior engineering position in security and operations. They went to some people that had a little bit more experience, but I felt comfortable because I built the relationship. So when like you had to do these panel interviews, I wasn't sitting there going, oh well, I don't know this person, I don't have this, is the question they're asking me legit, like, do I have a chance? Like, it's not, you're not going in blind. And I really found that was extremely important. Like, because like I said, my job, my schedule, I work the weekends, so I work 1 day a week on the floor. So I work with on Mondays. Well, on Saturday and Sunday, I'm the only one in the building. So if I call them, I'm calling them their own, whoever's on call, and it's not a face-to-face interaction. They don't know me, and I'm also, if you've ever, most of you guys who teach here who've worked IT personally, that being on call and getting bothered on call, it's hit or miss whether or not you're in a good mood to be called at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday about an issue that I don't have access to. So working hands-on with them, showed one that I am competent, and I learned a lot, so I don't have to call them Sundays, and also it gave me this like a face-to-face interaction with them, that so it's not a huge, like it's not as uncomfortable when I do interview for those departments if I stay with there. Or it's good because it gives me, like, people I can get letter of recommendations and stuff for when I do plan to go to get my master's degree in the next 6 months to a year after I graduate. So as a whole, it was, even though I did it at my employer, it was a great learning experience, and I do recommend it for anybody.